Welcome to Between the Shelves. This is a special Star Wars Part 2 episode. If you listened to the last episode, I'm joined again by Kristina.
Hello.
Chuck.
Hello there.
And Tim.
Hello.
So let's get started. I'm just curious, what was everyone's first introduction to Star Wars? I'll go first because I have a feeling Kristina and I had a very similar story. So I was born in '89, and when The Phantom Menace was being made, Star Wars, or whoever owned it at the time, Lucas re-released the original trilogy in theaters on the years leading up to Episode 1. So I'm not sure. So Episode 1 came out in '99, so this must have been, I think they did one every year leading up to it. So A New Hope must have come out in theaters like 96 or 7.
I want to say 97 because that would have been the 20th anniversary.
And that was
also
a big deal because that was when they started releasing the edited
Lucas cuts,
which was the beginning of my hatred for George Lucas. Go on.
Now we're starting to understand why you dislike Episode 1 so much.
Yeah.
No, but anyways, so they started re-releasing the movies in theaters, and I was 7 or 8 around that time. So, I mean, this was like the biggest part of my life up to that point. I was so excited. And I remember the theater in Newport, Rhode Island, which no longer exists. It was in downtown Newport. It was the first time I'd ever seen like spotlights for a movie. I saw a line of people up the street waiting to get their tickets. Like, this was all new. I'd never seen this before. And I was hyped beyond belief. My dad was a huge Star Wars fan, so he was excited. He brought us, like, very excited. We knew this was a big deal. So seeing the original trilogy, 4, 5, and 6 in theaters was a huge deal. Like, it was a huge spectacle. I loved it. Kristina, did you have the same sort of experience?
I did see them in theaters. I couldn't tell you what theater it was in. My guess is the UA in Coram, which is now apartments. I don't remember there being a lot of people when we went. As far as I remember, it was literally just me and my dad in the theaters. But the only reason he took me to see them in theaters is because up until that point, I had only been watching A New Hope on TNT. Like, they would just show it all the time. And I just remember, like, just watching it, and every time it was on and being transfixed. And he was like, okay, well, there are more of these. We don't have to keep just watching this one. We can see more. It was like, well, I don't know about that. This one seems fine on its own.
I'm getting my fill, thank you.
Yeah. So then he took me to see all of them in theaters.
Yeah. So, like, coinciding with the movies, I mean, I had the toys, obviously. I don't know if I had been playing any video games at that point, but I mean, I had the toys. And then in 1999, I remember all the marketing for Episode 1 was like everywhere. Like, you couldn't go anywhere without seeing a poster or a toy or some kind of promotional thing for Episode 1. So, I mean, I was peak hyped for Episode 1. I grew up behind a comic book shop. I don't know if any of you knew that, but I would go to the comic book shop every day and get the Star Wars Episode 1 trading cards. So they had like a Magic the Gathering style card game. I had all of them, and I was so obsessed with those cards. I remember we took a camping trip. It must have been in '99 before the movie came out. I took the cards with me. Like, I had like a binder with all the cards. Like, on a camping trip, I just was staring at them. Yeah, so when Episode 1 came out, I just could not be more excited. So it really hit like at the exact right time for me.
Same. I didn't have any toys, though. Not until after Episode 1.
I had too many toys. Way too many toys.
Yeah. So I'll go. So my birthday is May 4th, 1992. So I am the biggest fan by birthright. But it wasn't until I was like 5 that I became acquainted with it, because my Nana had a huge collection of Harrison Ford movies on VHS. She had a massive crush on him.
Rightly so.
That was right around the time that the
Who
special
doesn't?
editions, the special editions came out. So she bought those, and I started watching them. And I have no memory of what that experience was like. All I know is that the A New Hope version that broke, and I only would watch Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
That's funny.
And then that same room became the kids' playroom, and I must have had hundreds. Power of the Force toys, that whole collection that came out in the late 90s. And then the Phantom Menace came out, but yeah. So yeah.
Then it all went wrong. Yeah. I was born in the early 80s, so I have no memory except Star Wars. Like, I really could not say what, because it was just the VHS tapes. And what I do remember is later in my childhood of, like, let's say middle school and even in high school, I would still consistently watch one episode every weekend, just for as long as I can remember. So that was, and I would just constantly draw like the vehicles and all that, the starships and all that stuff. I was obsessed with Star Wars as a kid. And then 1999 rolled around, and well, actually, really, we were joking that I'm the cynic, the Star Wars cynic. Chuck, you're pretty close though with some of it, but you're definitely way more invested in than I am. But I'm like kind of the Star Wars cynic, mostly because of the special editions that came out that started editing and tweaking and just ruining, in my opinion, perfect cuts of every movie. So that's where it kind of all the cynicism began for me. But those early days of Star Wars for me were the thing in my childhood that I was probably obsessed most with. That's my Star Wars story.
Yeah, it kind of hit at like the worst time for you, where these things you grew up with and were part of your childhood.
Now let's ruin it with all this other
stuff. You're
stuff.
16, 17, 18 years old, where like you're already like hating the system and everything, as teenagers are kind of angsty and everything. Like then they start like changing your childhood.
Yes.
And then they come out with this new
That
Star
whole thing
Wars
of like George Lucas ruined my childhood. That was me. But I can look back on it now and kind of approach it a different way, except for the fact that I would only want to show my daughter the original cuts of the trilogy. So I was like, no, we have to watch this streaming where you can get like the 4K. There's a 4K restoration of the original cut that's totally illegal, basically. But you can find it streaming online, which I would recommend watching, just as far as like seeing an original cut and how beautiful it looks when it's restored and how different it is from the special edition cuts.
Yeah. Han shoots first.
Did they show the special edition cuts when we saw them in theaters?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what they released.
So we got like a little taste of Jar Jar before.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We got micro doses of
Micro
Jar Jar,
doses of
so
Jar
we were
Jar.
prepared for it.
That's how they get you.
Yeah.
Is this when George Lucas walks in to meet Tim? We have a surprise for you, Tim.
This is when I storm off the podcast, never to return.
So what age did you introduce your daughter to?
7, maybe 6, maybe 5 actually, but she doesn't remember watching A New Hope. So really last year when she was 7.
Okay. I have a 3-year-old, and I don't know when the right time is.
Honestly,
way
you
too
could
early
show
right now.
New Hope probably right now, I think.
I was 5. I think
5.
that's
But you
a
don't
good
remember
age.
it, you just said.
That's the thing.
No, I remember being introduced to it. I just don't remember. And I loved it immediately.
I think at 3, 4, you could probably watch some of it, but your kid's probably not going to remember any of it just because there's so many other things that are probably will hit more that they'll want to rewatch, like shorter things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard waiting because there's plenty of stuff that I want to watch Indiana Jones with her, but I'm like, that ain't going to happen for a few more years. For me personally, that's what I feel like. It's a little too young to see people's heart getting ripped out of their chests. Faces melting, Nazis and all that good stuff.
Oh yeah, you have to explain what a Nazi is.
They're just bad guys for an 8-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah, I think being a kid is crucial to being introduced to it. I've met people who have been introduced as adults, and they're just like, I liked it. But
That's a really good point, though. I think you do, like, the magic of Star Wars is...
You really have to be.
You should be young when you're watching it.
Yeah. That thought occurred to me watching The Mandalorian Season 3. It kind of changed my perspective on it. Not that I'm saying it made it any better. I still don't like it. But I was thinking during Season 3, I'm like, you know what? This just isn't for me. Like, this is for the next generation. This is onboarding the next generation of Star Wars fans.
Or really, again, it's fan service for people that don't care. For people that have grown up with Star Wars and they're like, I don't want a whole lot from Star Wars. This is enough for me.
Yeah.
Because that's perfectly valid, too. I just don't want to watch it. But there are, I think, plenty of people out there that do.
So we ranked all the Star Wars movies and shows in the last episode. In this episode, we're going to talk about some of our non-movie and show favorite Star Wars things. Maybe non-canon things. Who knows what's canon anymore? So everything that I've brought to this episode right now, they're all video games. So I didn't read any of the Star Wars books, but I played almost all of the games. So I want to talk about 4 games really quickly. And if anyone played any of them, maybe you can contribute. I'm going to go quick, I know. So the first one I want to talk about is Knights of the Old Republic. Did anyone play this? It came out in 2001, I think.
I played like a third of it.
It's a long game.
I think I played a half an hour of it, which does not speak to the quality of it. I just don't think I was.
Yeah,
in
I
the right
was playing it on my
headspace to play
phone, and then I got a new phone, and it doesn't save the data over. So
This is a tough game to play on a phone.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that sounds.
So I don't think this game is canon anymore, but it's a role-playing game where it's one of the first role-playing games where your decisions in the world kind of affect the plot and how your character develops. So you're a Jedi, but if you are, benevolent to some of the non-playable characters in the game, you can get light side points, I guess. Like, I forget how they track it exactly. Or if you do evil, wicked things to benefit yourself, you can get dark side points. And eventually, like, your character over the course of the game will kind of stray into, you'll be a good Jedi or you'll be a Sith, like, evil Jedi. So your decisions not only affect, how the plot unfolds, but it also affects the kind of powers you can get too. So if you go lean towards the good, you get, healing and lightsabers fighting skills, I guess. I forget exactly what they are. But if you go evil, you can shoot like lightning and be wicked and stuff. So it was a really great game. It came out in 2001, and I think it influenced a lot of role-playing games that came out afterwards. And another cool thing about it is it was set 4,000 years in the past before the Empire was established. So it had a completely different look than any other Star Wars thing that had come out to that point. So that was really cool to see, like a different vision of what Star Wars could look like. So all of that was great. The characters were great. And again, it had different endings based on how you played it. So of course, when I beat it, I went back and played it as an evil character so I could see the different ending. So that was a really, really fun game. The other game I want to talk about is the Racer series, the pod racing game. The first one came out for N64, which was a blast. I replayed it on Nintendo Switch recently, and it's a completely different game because on the N64 version, because you're going like 400 miles an hour, the N64 couldn't keep up with that. So your vision is only like 100 feet in front of you. They just have this like artificial fog. So
the old Nintendo artificial fog.
Yeah, it can't load the map fast enough because you're going so fast, which made the game very difficult. Like you have to make split-second decisions because everything's coming at you at a very close range.
That's what it's like to steer
a
pod racer.
It felt very real. So the N64 one was a lot of fun. On the Switch, you can see the whole map right away, so the game becomes almost trivial at that point. But it's still a fun game. And they had a sequel come out for PS2. I don't know if anyone played that, but it's like a super crisp version of the original, but with more characters, and it's a lot of fun. So I love pod racing. I love episode 1. If you listen to the previous episode, you already know that. So pod racing, that's little Alex loved that back in the day. Another one I want to mention is the Lego Star Wars games. Did anyone?
Yeah, those are a lot of fun.
They're so much fun. It's like the best couch co-op kind of game there is. Like anyone can play it, adults, kids.
And those are the first Lego games that came out, I think. Am I wrong there? Because the Lego series, they made a lot of games.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But I think the Star Wars games, that's where they first started.
Yeah.
Very funny games.
Yeah, they're silly. The characters speak in like a gobbledygook. I forget what the language is, but they just like, I can't even replicate it, but they're just like mumble kind of to themselves in a silly way. So yeah, it's just funny, and they kind of just do like a send up of the whole series, and it's just a really fun game. It's just silly, like when you die, you fall apart into pieces like a Lego character would. So it's just a really fun game, and you can play it with like a kid and. Yeah. Really easy to pick up. There's like 2 buttons. Just a fun game. And then the last one, and this is the one I think Kristina and Chuck played. Tim, you played it too. Jedi Fallen Order.
Yes.
So this is the one video game that was so good they made it canon. or I think they're planning on making it canon.
Yeah, some of the characters probably pop up somewhere.
I think anything nowadays is considered canon.
Yeah,
Disney,
whatever property comes out.
Whatever
now.
they bought it, yeah. Purchase.
So this game came out in like 2019,
Yeah.
pretty recently. It's just a super polished action game. It looks beautiful. It's very difficult. It was just a really well-made game. The writing's good. The story's good. It's just a very polished game. I really, really enjoyed it. And the sequel is coming out today or this week. Long anticipated.
It comes out
Friday. So it'll be interesting to see what that's like. Did you anyone finish Fallen Order?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Not finish it.
It's a tough game. Several times, yeah.
I played on story mode.
Smart. I should have done that.
I tried it on all the difficulties. I think the ranking is actually Jedi Master is the hardest difficulty, and that is to play.
Yeah, I can imagine. But yeah, it's just a really tight game. I think it was just really well polished, well made, great game.
Yeah,
the ending's fun too.
Yep.
Spoiler alert: a big baddie, sad boy, comes in and comes in at the very end. But yeah, those are the games that stood out amongst all the Star Wars games that I played. So who wants to go next?
So I've been thinking about this, and it was kind of an easy decision on just where I was a big book reader I still am, but in the 90s, mid 90s is when the first books came out, and it was the perfect time for me because I was probably 16 at the time when Heir to the Empire came out by Timothy Zahn, and that series blew my mind because I was just watching just the movies. That was it. You had the movies and nothing else, except for maybe the holiday special, but we don't talk about that.
I didn't rank that.
Well,
Piece of Sith.
So those books came out at the perfect time for me and lots of people because there's a lot. Now you're seeing 20, 30 years later, the people that are actually in charge of the whole franchise, Disney and a lot of the creatives are going back to that well of these original books because there's so many good characters in these books. It's the original version of who's the Thrawn, yeah, Admiral Thrawn. And those books, along with the Rogue Squadron books, of which I think there were at least 12 to 6, I ate those books up. And then there were the books on what happened to Luke and Han and Leia, and those stories of just continuing, which was just really something that was eye-opening to me of just like how they could just expand this universe before that was really a thing. Before that was it. You have these movies, and then you just have this universe of stories that you can tell, which kind of makes it frustrating now when they just keep going back to the same things over and over, and there's no new creativity in Star Wars now where like you see one droid, and I guess these droids are everywhere in the entire universe, and there are no droids that exist anywhere else because they just use the same droids over and over. But it was just this well of creativity back then that writers could just do whatever they wanted, and no one really cared. George Lucas, I don't think he was watching over it all that much. It was just, here's the property, fill in wherever you want, whenever you want. And it was great. I love any of those books from the mid-90s to the maybe early aughts. Those are fantastic for me. And then as far as video games, I do have some thoughts about video games, and these go back, again, kind of the same time period, but there was a PC game called Dark Forces, which had a main character. So it's just basically a Han Solo-esque character without it being Han Solo. And it was a first-person shooter, very kind of primitive graphics because it was from 1995, but it told a good story, and you got to do some fun things in this story, and that was very enjoyable. And then Rogue Squadron, again, I just like the Rogue Squadron. That's for me, I guess. And that was on GameCube.
The sequel was on GameCube.
What was the first?
The original
one?
was on N64.
Yeah.
Okay, so those two games, and there was a third one too. I think they did 3.
It was Battle for Naboo, which same idea, but it was different era.
Great games though. Lots of fun. Just little shooter games, Rogue Squadron shooter games. So those two things, those games from that era and the books from that era are just perfect for me.
Nice.
Those are fantastic. I just have one. I kind of mentioned it in the previous episode. there was a book called Kenobi by John Jackson Miller. I was trying to think of my own logline to kind of like simplify and explain it, but I just took the one right off the book. A widowed shopkeeper, her family business, and her kids are caught in tensions between fellow farmers and a tribe of Tuscan raiders when the conflict accidentally draws in an enigmatic stranger known only to locals as Ben. This book has nothing to do with the show Kenobi, and thank God it doesn't. But if you liked the first couple of episodes of that Mandalorian episode where the Tuscans and the villagers are all helping each other out, if you liked the idea of exploring Kenobi's time on Tatooine and like his emotional side and thinking about Anakin and Qui-Gon and like his relationship with him and how he comes to learn about being Force Ghost and all that stuff, that's all this book is about. It's a much simpler story. It's a much quieter story. It has nothing to do with Darth Vader. Like there is no people from beyond Tatooine getting involved in the conflict. I think it is the best Star Wars book out there.
It sounds really.
It's a really good one.
I kind of want to read that now.
It's a very good one. I didn't even
know it existed.
The characters are really good too. All the other secondary characters who are never mentioned ever again, and yeah, just a perfect book. So that's my sole recommendation.
Kristina.
So I have a couple of books from the more modern book canon that I really enjoyed. The first one is Bloodline by Claudia Gray. So this takes place before Force Awakens, and it's Leia as a senator in the New Republic Senate. It's just like a lot of like political intrigue, and it sort of sets up the Force Awakens. There are a lot of things that like happen in the book.
By way of C-SPAN?
Yes, exactly. It's very good. So much political intrigue. And that same author actually wrote like a prequel book about Leia, about her time as a teen on Alderaan. It's just called Leia, Princess of Alderaan. And she's 16 in the book, and she's just sort of like being a 16-year-old, trying to fulfill her duties as a Princess of Alderaan. But she notices that like her parents are always like up to something. So she starts to investigate and realizes that they're involved in the rebellion. And it also introduces like Holdo. Like Holdo is one of Leia's best friends in this book. So like this came out before The Last Jedi. So it doesn't like...
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Because she's
kind of out of nowhere in
yeah,
The
she's
Last
at,
Jedi.
and yeah. And Leia's like, no, I trust her intrinsically. And you're like, why? Who is she?
Who is she?
Established in this book.
Yeah, that's another thing of where you're kind of expected to know some characters.
Yes, there's
absorbing other material.
Yeah, and they did also a Padme trilogy, just sort of filling in all of the places Padme is around, but we don't necessarily know what she's doing. That's by E.K. Johnston. So they came out all out of order. So like one of them is like the time in between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. One of them is during, I think, between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, because she and Anakin are married, but nobody knows, except maybe Obi-Wan does know. And they're really fun. And the author makes a point to describe every single outfit that Padme wears.
So that's why you love this?
In these books, one of them takes place during like the Siege of Naboo, and it references things that happen in the movie but doesn't like explain them. It just sort of like hand waves it around like, well, you've seen the movie, so like you don't need me to tell you what's going on.
I would hope so if you're reading these books.
Yeah, it's just like, well, maybe I haven't seen the movies in a few years, and like maybe I don't know this exact scene you're referring to. So there's like a lot of that in those books. And then Master and Apprentice, also by Claudia Gray, is about Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon when Obi-Wan is a Padawan. It's just like their developing relationship, which is fun to sort of see how that comes to be. And like you're in Qui-Gon's head a lot, which I feel like you're not in the prequels ever. And like other characters will sort of like make references to like how he was. Like I think they tell Obi-Wan like, oh, you've got Qui-Gon's like rebellious streak in you. And you're like, okay, well, I've seen him do one rebellious thing. He bought a boy once. Like what?
He bought a boy.
It's a good alternate title for episode 1.
And then the other book that I would recommend is Brotherhood, which takes place during the Clone Wars, and like the entire premise of this book is in like Revenge of the Sith. Someone makes like an offhanded I think it's
that business on Cato de Moidia doesn't count.
Yeah, that one sentence they turned into an entire book, and it takes place concurrently with one of the Padme books. So the two authors like consulted to make sure that like all of Padme's outfits were accurate in the one book, and it also gives a little bit more of like Anakin and Padme's like relationship. So you do get to see them, I think, as like a couple more than they develop it in the movies. But there are cringy things that still happen, like Anakin freezes his Padawan braid in carbonite and gives it to Padme as a gift.
Oh, wow. I wish I never knew that.
So romantic.
I also wish I never knew that, which is why I share it with everybody. But otherwise, it's another book that's kind of like a lot of political intrigue. It's just Obi-Wan investigating something, and Anakin's not supposed to be helping. He's supposed to be doing something else. And Anakin's like, no, I'll do what I want.
Boring Jedi stuff.
Yeah.
Jedi training.
That's funny. All right, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, I've prepared a game for Kristina and Chuck. Tim had to leave, unfortunately, but you two are the lucky contestants in our game.
This is where the fun begins.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we are back. I'm really excited about this game. I actually came up with it on my lunch break today. So not a lot of thought went into this.
Oh no.
But I'm excited all the same. So the game is called Know Your Podracer. So what we're gonna do? No, hold on. It's fun. You both have an equal chance at winning this. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to name two character names. One of them is a pod racer in canon, a canon pod racer in Star Wars. The other is another canon character who is a Cantina denizen from Episode 4.
In the entire canon, or just like Phantom Menace? But
Entire canon.
Okay.
So including the video game.
Okay. That doesn't do anything for me because I know 0.
I was going to say, they probably mentioned like 3 in the... Okay. So I have 11 here, so it's an odd number. So we can have a winner. All right.
Unless we both get 0.
And then I'm the winner for knowing all of them. All right, here we go. Kristina. Ariel Shosus and Odie Mandrell.
I'm going to say Odie Mandrell.
That's correct. Odie Mandrell is the pod racer. Ariel Shosus is the werewolf dude from the Cantina. All right, Chuck. Gasgano or Cabe?
Gasgano is the pod racer.
Gasgano is the pod racer. My favorite pod racer.
He's the one that slams the thing, right? And goes flying everywhere.
No, that's Ben Quadraneros.
Gotcha. Don't bring his name up before later.
He's not on here.
Okay, never mind.
I thought that was too easy.
I thought it was tricking
because
him.
he's one of the ones that were actually named. Gasgano is the one who has the really, really long neck in the green pod racer. He's my favorite.
Yeah.
Now you know. Okay. Kristina. Moma Nadon or Dud Bolt?
I'm going to say Dud Bolt.
Dud Bolt is a pod racer. You're right. Moma Nadon is the alien in the Cantina who has like the swoop head.
Yeah.
Looks kind of like a stingray, I guess. Who has no mouth. Chuck. Muftak or Aldar Beedo?
Aldar Beedo.
Aldar Beedo is the pod racer. Muftak is the guy that looks like the abominable snowman who has like the anteater mouth. That's like a tube from the Cantina. Mm-hmm. Okay. Kristina. Boshek or Mars Guo?
Mars Guo.
Mars Guo is the pod racer. See, you're better at this than you thought.
It's just really going by vibes. Like, which of these vibes
There is
with a
something
pod
about
racing?
Phantom Menace names that sound Phantom Menacey.
Yeah, we're on to something here. Boshek is in the Cantina. He is the human pilot that looks kind of like a rebel.
Okay.
Chuck, these are all real characters, like in the movie.
I believe it.
Okay. Chuck, Teamto Pigeles or Bando Baba? I'm sorry, Pando Baba.
The first one. I don't even...
Teamto Pigeles is a pod racer.
Yeah.
Those both sounded very Phantom Menacing.
Yeah. Pando Baba is actually the guy who gets his arm cut off, who has the butt
I was
mouth.
going to say, that name sounded more familiar, so I was like, so I definitely don't think that's from Phantom Menace.
Okay, Kristina. Juan Sandage or Danik Jericho?
Derek Janico.
I'm sorry, that is incorrect. Juan Sandage is the pod racer. Danik Jericho is the cantina dweller who's smoking that really long pipe.
Of course, obviously. How could I confuse the
It looks like a hookah, sort of.
I thought Jericho was the one also.
Yeah.
Okay, back to Chuck. Clegg Holdfast or Labria?
I'm going to say Labria.
Incorrect. Clegg Holdfast is the pod racer. Labria is the guy who looks like the devil with the red face and horns.
Oh my god.
What number are we on?
We are on, don't worry, this is number 9. We're almost done.
Okay.
Okay, Kristina. Dice Ibagon or Akko 9 Bar?
I'm going to go with dice.
Incorrect. Dice Ibagon is the disgusting worm snake creature that has like a very quick scene in the cantina. All right, back to Chuck. Let's just say it's tied. It's coming down to the end here. Rats Tyrell or Ketwol?
Tyrell.
Tyrell is the pod racer. Ketwol is the elephant.
That's an elephant.
There's a guy with an elephant head in the cantina. Kristina. Mohonic or Hem Dazon?
Mahonic.
Mahonic is the pod racer. Hem Dazon is the guy who has like the Y-shaped head with 2 glowing eyes. He gets a very quick shot where he's in a shadow. Oh, I didn't say who Cabe was. Back Gascano versus Cabe. Cabe is like the little tiny guy who reaches up to the bar to get the beer. He looks kind of like, has like a bat face, but he's like a walk
like
body.
a pig nose and stuff, maybe.
Kind of.
Kind of. Yeah, I remember him.
All right, that was my game.
All right, who won and what did they win?
Kristina, you won top nerd. Top Star Wars pod racer nerd. You get 2 tickets to the Boonta Eve Classic.
Oh my god. I would have given you my tickets if I won, so.
Yeah, I was
You can
going
go.
no matter what.
You have to provide your own transportation. All right, that's all we got.
Wow.
We wrapped up Star Wars.
We solved Star Wars.
We solved Star Wars. Now no one has to consult or watch Star Wars ever again.
You're welcome, listeners.
Goodbye.